Did Mark Rosewater dig a grave for the spirit of the reserve list? Well, I don't know what to tell you guys, because from what I'm reading into Mark Rosewater's blogatog, it essentially says that they can print whatever the hell they want, and they're just not going to reprint exact copies of cards. If they're better, then they're fine. If they're worse, they're perfect. If they have any parallels whatsoever, it doesn't matter, because they can print whatever they want. Hey guys, I am Cindershadow, and do me a favor and like and subscribe this video, because without the support of you guys, this channel doesn't do anything. And hey, if I get, let's put a number on this. If I get 30 likes on this video, I will get my hair cut. Is that a deal? Is that a deal, guys? Just to cover all bases here, I am not a lawyer. I am just a speculator. I am just a YouTuber. If there's anything in this video that you guys don't like, let me know down below, because I know you will anyway. But because I go into a little bit of legalese, I guess, don't take it as take it at face value. Don't take it anything more than what it is. I am just spitballing when said and done. Well, if you haven't seen my previous videos on this subject with the reserve list, there's a lot of details here, and at this point, it's a 24-year history of Wizards of the Coast, Mark Rosewater in particular, talking about what they call the spirit of the reserve list. The spirit of the reserve list is where they've gone over in detail, and they've set this precedent throughout the history of Magic the Gathering over the last 24 years, where they wouldn't print strictly better cards. They wouldn't turn around and print something that was a functional reprint but better, or thus far. And in those videos, I talk about the Moonveil Regent being a strictly better version of the Rock of Care Ridges, and thus, so I'm going to probably link that in a card up in the top corner. You guys can go watch that. It is a lengthy video, but today I'm bringing you a bit of an update with this. Dark Elder on the blogatog asked, "Hi, considering you posted on the Fork Reverberate issue, your post ID April 22nd, 2018, how did the Rock of Care Ridges Moonveil Regent happen? I know it's not identical, but it is strictly better, a better flyer than a 3/3 for 3 red mana without negative effects like e.g. the Flailing Manticore. In the spirit of the reserve list, that should have been caught prior to the release of the Moonveil Regent. Right. Cheers." And Mark responds with, "The reserve list doesn't mean we can't make better cards than on the reserve list. The Fork/Reverberate is about making something almost identical." So ultimately what this says, they could turn around and make a Black Lotus, call it the Blacker Lotus. It be 0 mana to cast. You sacrifice it, get 4 mana. That plain and simple, that's what this says. It's not identical or almost identical. It is just strictly better. We've seen cards in the past where they are like a slide over. You can make the arguments that the cards are not strictly better. You can make the argument that the card in itself does not envelop the way things go. In the idea of the Rock of Care Ridges, it's a 3/3 for 4 mana, but that 4 mana is a specific type of casting cost. 1 red and 3 generic. Everything else, they do 2 red, 2 generic, 3 red, 1 generic, and so on. And the reasoning for that is because back in the initial days of Magic the Gathering, you could figure out the formula they were using for casting cost. 1 solid thing of mana mostly meant 2 generic. So that's where that formula and the drawbacks and the give take always was. And that's why everything else past that has usually been 2 and 2, or they've changed it up a little bit. Something where it doesn't do this exact replica. The Moonveil Regent ultimately is you could I don't know how you can't say it's not technically a reprint of the Rock of Care Ridges when the Rock of Care Ridges is completely enveloped in it. You completely override anything of that card in casting cost, in power and toughness. It's all gone. Like, everything is gone. And with this one little response from Mark Rosewater, the reserve list is officially pretty much, might as well be, dead. If you're going to just say, we're going to throw cards out there that are completely and strictly better, then I guess we're going to get tri-lands instead of just dual lands that come into play untapped. They count as a island, swamp, and mountain, and they make mana colors of all 3 colors. They've done it with untapped land. They come in tapped, but not the untapped versions. We've got the triomes that were in Ikoria. At this point, you might as well have just said they come into play untapped, because that's the exact same thing. There has been something as a drawback for these cards for the history since the reserve list has been out. They even made, it was the Phyrexian Negator, which they put into a dual deck. They put it in, gave it a foil treatment, and because it wasn't in a tournament legal style effort, they were able to actually put that out there as a reprint policy, but not break the reprint policy of the reserve list. Also, that said, when that happened, shortly after that, like not even a week, they had Aaron Forsythe and a whole whack of other people that are involved in Wizards of the Coast go into meetings that lasted about a full day with regards to the reserve list. And about a week after that, they came out with a new statements, and that was the 2010 reserve list update. There was NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, that were signed to even attend that meeting for Wizards of the Coast within their own company. There was a lot of stuff that came down from that, and now it looks like today, or back here a couple days ago, Mark Rosewater sits there and makes this statement saying, we're just going to make better cards than we've ever made before, than have ever been printed in the history of the reserve list. Now, where does this lie? Where do I think this lies? If you want to print better cards than what's on the reserve list, fine. That's fine. Go ahead and do it. Do it. Get rid of this reserve list. It's an absolute disgrace of a policy to even have in the first place. It creates a collector's place where people can hide money where they hide money and avoid taxes, where they park investment money that never goes anywhere, and it just becomes an asset. You want to tank that value? Go ahead and do it. Now, the flip side of the coin is you have all the people that have invested in these cards. Now, they may see a drop in their value for these, and you may see a mass sell-off of reserve list cards at this point, and then the market tanks. If that happens, Wizards of the Coast is going to be liable, and there is going to be many lawsuits. A class action probably will come forward and will go against Wizards of the Coast very, very quickly, because they can state this reprint policy, and they can state 24 years of background stating they wouldn't do something like this. I don't care if these cards suddenly become cheap, or they reprint a Black Lotus and now I can pick up an actual Black Lotus that is legal for me to play in a tournament capacity, then I am fine with it, because then I can turn around and play these things. I can make an EDH deck. I don't have to have people sending me proxies of these cards. Ultimately, if I want to play with these cards, I'm going to write it on the back of a land card and say this is a Black Lotus. That's something people have done for a long time, and it's called kitchen table, and if you really want to do that, you can do that. Is the reserve list something where it has a lot of value based on the collectability and the art and the first printings of these cards? Yes. Will this open up going forward with these numbered cards that they're going to now do a limited edition print run of a Black Lotus and number them? Yes. We're going to see things like this very soon in Magic the Gathering. There's lots of things that are going to come down from this. I don't know where it's going to lie. I don't know where it is. My personal thoughts are go ahead and break the thing so I can maybe scoop up these cards for cheap. Ultimately, it'll be up to the investors, and the investors that have stakes in these cards are massive. We're talking millions, if not multi-millions dollars worth of money. And if there's a sudden sell-off, which this may have just spiked, the reserve list will ultimately be its undoing, and I don't know where it's going to lie. Anyway, guys, this is Proud Canadian Phoenix signing off. Have yourselves a great day. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is just updating on what's going on with the reserve list. Thanks. Have a great day.